Welcome to Ish I Saw on TikTok. In this series, we look at TikToks and some stitched responses where something very prevalent in dating today is discussed. Then finally, I'll provide my commentary at the end of just me being myself, unfiltered and unadulterated. Hi, I'm Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. I work with successful, savvy, wonderful, professional Black women, single professional Black women who are 35 plus and are seeking just better dating options and have no clue where to start. Check out my links below if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or in a group coach setting. The goal of exploring some of these TikToks is to spark discussion and help you to develop more awareness, including self-awareness, in some of the patterns you've either engaged in or allow in your own dating life. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
You know, this dude came to me about a 1 year anniversary and what to do for it. I gave him some game and he failed terribly, bro. Like, whatever I told him to do and how to be romantic and sentimental, he dropped the ball to the 10th power, right? And I'm very clear and very concise when it gives, you know, because I like for a man to make sure his woman feels good, feels special. And the conclusion I've come to, bro, is that men don't like women for real, bro. They just like how they like the benefits they get from women. You know what I mean? The nurturing, you know what I mean? The sex, the caring. You don't really like women, bro. You know what I mean? Because most men, after they get the cookie, that's when you get the roses and all that. You know what I mean? Before you get the cookie. And after you get the cookie, like, they gone with the wind. And that means you really don't appreciate the mind of a woman, the compassion of a woman, the nurturing of a woman, you know what I'm saying? The caring of a woman. But you think a woman's just supposed to give you that because you're the man, and that is no longer. The standard is being raised. I don't give a damn no. You gotta do more, bro. You gotta do more than just showing up as a man. You gotta self-develop, bro. You gotta know God. You gotta understand yourself. You gotta understand where you want to go. You gotta have a plan, bro. Stop just showing up and you ain't got nothing going, bro. It's unattractive. That's it. That's supposed.
If you hate women, just say that. If you aren't into women, just say that. How is it that you get in relationships with these women, but here it is, you got more time to kick it with your homies. You stay out in the street with grown-ass men. You would rather be out in the street with grown, hairy, smelly men running around for days versus being up under some warm covers with your soft woman. Here it is, you want to continuously take trips with grown-ass men when you could be on a resort vacationing, rubbing some soft feet and some soft butt, but you want to be around a whole bunch of beards and big shoulders and backbone. Are you kidding me? If you and the men, just say that. If you don't like women, just say that. How the fuck is it you are exchanging bodily fluids with your woman, splitting bills with your woman, but you prioritize your homies before her? If you don't like women, just say that. You'll get up out of your bed at 2 o'clock in the morning because the homies got an issue, but you won't even inconvenience 15 minutes of your day during work hours for your woman. You weird, goofy freakers.
I used to go around asking men for advice about getting married, and now that I'm 4 years in, I realize that a lot of these men didn't like their wives. After I posted that video, this comment read, "Can you talk more about liking your wife?" So many men seem to generally dislike and seem to be annoyed by women they love but don't like. What I've both seen and learned as I've grown is that men will marry women who serve them even if they don't like them. That's how patriarchy conditions them. For example, if you ask a cis man what he likes about his partner, he'll soon begin listing the ways in which she serves him. You know what I mean? Like, I think society conditions men to not like women. Like, you love them, you feel a sense of duty towards them, you get one and you take care of them because that's what men do, we're taught. And you're hearing your whole life from church, the men in your life, the media, that women talk too much, they don't listen, they're disagreeable, they're emotional. Cis men tend to like other men in non-romantic ways. They like being around their guys and spending time with them, and sometimes these men talk to each other about how much they don't like their wives. But men will marry women who serve them. who are submissive and obedient and who know their place. Because as I've said, in the eyes of patriarchy, there can be no relationship without control. All liking someone is feeling attraction towards them or taking pleasure in them, delighting in them. Like I like my wife. I like talking to her and being around her. Even if we're not doing stuff together, I feel better knowing that we're occupying the same space. I like her laugh and the way she speaks. Sometimes I just like watching her exist. Something about it fills me up, inspires me, reminds me. Like she's my person, my favorite person. Seeing her makes me feel happy and safe. Yes, we're people that argue. Sometimes we annoy each other. But because we like each other, it doesn't take long for either of us to begin a resolution. Because who wants to not be talking to someone they actually like for the sake of pride? Thank you for watching, and like and follow for more content.
So I've had a lot of people ask my opinion on this Twitter thread that's going around about men hating their girlfriends or their wives. If y'all don't know which one I'm referring to, I'm talking about this one right here. That phase when you slowly start hating your girlfriend is crazy. And of course, the thread itself has over 100 million views, as well as I'm sure at least 1 million people have commented on this thread. And I'm not even going to get into the whole thread and waste my time doing that. I'm just going to go off this first tweet right here when it says, when you keep messing up on purpose so that she can break up with you, but she keeps forgiving you. Because although a lot of men are seeing this thread as a joke and they add to the joke, these are just ways that a lot of men manipulate women in relationships. And I know some people might say, oh, it's just a joke. This shit is actually traumatizing for individuals who truly are serious about relationships. All of these men have narcissistic tendencies, and it's wild to me. Because for you as a man to get into a relationship with a woman who genuinely loves you, and then you start to realize you don't want the relationship no more, instead of leaving, you choose to stay and manipulate the person that you're with because you're too afraid to take accountability for the way you feel and or your own actions in the relationship. And what's even scarier is that there's thousands of men, instead of acknowledging that the behavior is shitty, they're endorsing the behavior by adding to the thread about the things that they do in their current relationship and think it's okay. And don't get me wrong. Women have to take accountability and acknowledge the fact that you are with a grown-ass man. And if they're continuously mistreating you, abusing you, neglecting you, and treating you like shit, then yes, it gets to a point where you have to choose yourself and choose peace and happiness and leave the relationship. You have to take accountability and treat yourself and acknowledge your worth and know when it's time to leave. Yes, you are responsible as well. But it does not excuse the narcissistic behavior that's going on in this Twitter thread and that goes on in relationships. Even though a lot of these men are of age to become men, they are nothing but traumatized little boys who lack the ability to have intimate relationships because they lack the capacity to have sympathy and empathy as well as emotional vulnerability, and they want their ego stroked by their guy friends who they look for the opinions and validations of instead of the woman that they choose to be with. I believe that they only pursue women because they want sex and they want a woman to cook and clean for them, but they look for comfort and they look for validation in their homeboys or in their best friends who are men. That's my personal opinion.
Why you can't stand your wife in about 60 seconds, part 1. You came into the marriage knowing that you need to be a great provider, and you believe that if you provide enough, then she'll be happy. She came into the marriage believing that you're supposed to be a great provider, and that provision looked like both financial and emotional needs met. The disconnect is that you were never given the training on what it looks like to meet a woman's emotional needs. You were only given the training on how to show up, provide, make sure nobody dies. So over time, what that can translate into is a loss of trust. In other words, when she comes to you with needs and you defend, or you feel offended and you just get angry, you shut down or you storm out, or you start to get more kind of controlling, she will feel unheard and like the trust has been eroded. So if this is you, you are in a trap that so many men get into. So if you need help, DM me and I'll help you out. Why you can't stand your wife in 60 seconds or less, part 2. What's going on here is actually you love your wife. It's not that you can't stand her. You can't stand what she's bringing out in you. You feel attacked by her. And that is because you are trying to get your validation from her. This is very common among men. This is the woman that knows you better than anyone else on the planet. And you desperately want her to validate that you're a good man. But when she approaches you with some critiques, criticisms, maybe her own fears, insecurities, and you defend or try and dismiss it because you don't want to hear about how you're not doing a good job in some way, anything from not taking the trash out on the day you said you were going to not, being caring or thoughtful, whatever it is. If you believe deep down inside yourself that you're not good enough, then that's going to only exacerbate that belief that you have about yourself. So marriage is an opportunity for refinement. Stop looking at these criticisms and critiques as an attack, but as an opportunity to level up and get to this elevated place of high vibration where you know that just because somebody says something to you that isn't what you necessarily want to hear, you're not going to slide into this pity party and start waging a counterattack against them. That is not the point of marriage. Unconditional love looks like being able to hear somebody, see through their pain, meet them there, listen, and respond in a kind and loving way. And that takes real strength. And if you can do that, then you can change the dynamic of the relationship, but you got to stop waiting for her to do it first. And you need to learn a new way. If you need to learn that new way, you can reach out to me. I'll help you out. And I apologize. This was 2 minutes.
And this is the reason why a lot of men end up marrying somebody who's a maid but not a friend.
Bro, I'm gonna throw some your way, and I want you to answer that.
This is the reason why she's washing your clothes. She's doing everything that you want her to do, but you don't want to talk to her. She easily irritates you because you don't even like her.
That's what I want to get to. Thank you for going there.
You don't even like her.
Bro, I've talked to several married men who told me that they don't like their wives. I asked them, well, are you at least friends with your wife? They're like, friends?
I bet they do. I bet they do everything for them, though. They do everything for them, though.
Can I say something?
You make enough money to marry a maid. I mean, to hire a maid. I mean, and then marry a friend, right?
Wow.
If you want, if that's what you want, and so what you really want is somebody to cater to your egos,
and your brokenness.
Your brokenness.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get that to Jesus.
Woo. Go ahead. Go, sis.
Can I say something? I have thought it a bit interesting that it does seem like some men enjoy men more than they enjoy women, but they marry women because they're supposed to, but their affections, their time, their energy, their vulnerability is giving space for men more than so.
You disrespect yourself when you disrespect your wife. You cannot say you love someone and you constantly disrespect them. Or you, Mr. Femi, Mr. Emmanuel, you watch your siblings or your family members disrespect your wife. It just shows that you don't have self-respect at all. Because whoever is disrespecting your wife is disrespecting you. And you, as a quality man, you're meant to stand up and defend your wife, even when it's your siblings that are disrespecting them. My friend, you better have self-respect and protect your wife and your children. You're welcome.
This world, there are straight men who do not like women. I'm gonna explain. Let me cook. Just let me cook. I asked in the football locker room once. I said, hey, bros, like, what's something that y'all like about women that's not sexual or physical or any of that shit? Crickets. So then they tried to flip it. They tried to ask me the same question. I said, okay, I feel like women are nurturers. I feel like you can let your guard down a lot around women. I feel like you can be a lot softer around women. You ain't got to be on no tough guy, macho man shit all day. I feel like it's amazing hearing the female's perspective for once. You feel me? Like they sense of humor is a lot different. It's so many reasons that I can go on and on about why I like women, right? And like, then on the internet, right, we see podcasts all the time, multiple podcasts, and the hosts, they whole topic of discussion is just degrading women and just saying how horrible females are and why men need to put their guard up and protect themselves. And I'm like, damn, bro, like, do y'all like, and I don't know the name for it. I feel like we can all kind of connect and, we can agree that there is a name for it. I'm not going to say it, but it's just very, very weird. We can just call it weird. That's why I be thrown off. Like when a motherfucker say like, "Oh, Mason, you a lover boy," I be like, "How are you not? Like, damn, like you don't like your girl? Like, what the fuck? Like, how don't you like your girl?" So I personally, I don't want to put a name to it. You feel me? I don't want to get canceled, but I just want to say, don't ignore the signs. Like any guy that gets a thrill out of degrading women, any guy that runs under his boys the moment after he get done doing some sexual shit with a girl and he goes to them to get the satisfaction and the validation for whatever the shit he did, it's a name for that shit. And I'ma just label it weird. Yeah.
3 signs that your husband secretly hates you. You see, love and hate are actually not opposites. Love and apathy are opposites. You can love someone and hate them at the same time. And there's a lot of men who feel this way about their wives. They love them in certain ways and they hate them in other ways. Hate may not be the best word, maybe resentment or have very strong negative hurt feelings towards them. Here are 3 signs, and the last one is the most important. Sign number 1. He feels like he can't have a chill, relaxed, friendly conversation with you. Anytime he talks about something that he's interested in, rather than behaving like a friend, you behave like a family member. Now remember here, there are 4 types of relationships in your marriage. People who are able to manage happy marriages are able to switch back and forth between these 4 roles quickly and easily. People who have very unsuccessful marriages are usually stuck in 1 or 2 roles. They can be a family member, but they can't be a friend. They can be a friend, but they can't be a lover. You get the point. So that's the first sign, is they can't be friends with you because you're too much of a family member and not enough of a friend. I have solutions to this. Number 2, the husband does not feel safe to pursue his wife in the bedroom. There's just a certain level of rejection when a person gets turned down over and over and over again before it's too painful to engage in the behavior. It would be like going to eat a piece of cake and then getting slapped in the face. You get the slap and no cake enough times, and eventually you just give up. What happens in a relationship is then the husband resents his wife. Rather than feeling like his wife is a source of pleasure and excitement and fun and acceptance and love, his wife is instead a barrier that's preventing him from getting all of those things. And so, of course, he resents her. There are ways of getting over this, and I can explain those to you. A lot of times, I think it's things that the guy needs to do differently. All right, here's the third one. And this is the basis of all relationships. The idea is somewhat complex and somewhat simple. I'll try to explain it in the few minutes that I have left. We enjoy people's company because of the role that they allow us to be in when we're with them. Ultimately, it's the way that they see us. That's what matters. People would do almost anything to be seen a certain way. And one of the greatest gifts you can give someone is to put them into the role that they want to be in. When someone feels like no matter what they do, a person won't see them the way that they want to be seen, they'll want to get away from that person, even if they love them. There are tricks to managing this.
I used to wake up hating my wife. I'll tell you why in a second. Here's the definition of hate. Hate is an intense hostility or aversion, usually deriving from fear, anger, or a sense of injury. Contrast the definition of hate with what the definition of love is, and you get this. Love is an intense feeling of deep affection or great interest and pleasure in something. My hatred and hostility toward my wife stemmed from my own fear and anger. Getting married exposed my brokenness, and over time I projected my pain onto my wife to make her the problem in our relationship. It was a scary realization to realize I had come to hate the woman I thought I'd given my wife to love. I don't hate my wife anymore. I love our time together and I love our conversations. I even embrace when she challenges me to grow as a man, a husband, and a father. Your wife isn't your enemy. She is your access to love if you choose to embrace it. Marriage is hard because we all come into it believing this false idea that it will just make our lives better. Marriage provides the opportunity to grow massively and to get to know someone deeper than anyone else that you ever will in this life. Everything that prevents love will get exposed on the journey of creating connection. Is the journey worth it? 1000%.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, so my thoughts about this are actually pretty simple. There are a lot of people who are in relationships, men and women, who don't like their partner. We know that. We've all seen it with friends, peers, acquaintances, coworkers, family members, etc. And the reality is that is super unhealthy. It's super toxic and it's traumatizing in my estimation and from what I've seen working with, clients and seeing friends through the years and even family through the years go through this. But I think it's particularly insidious when you see married people in this dynamic. And specifically, I think you see it more, just my thoughts, you see it more in men who do not like their wives. They just like the utility of their wives, as many of the clips, said. Now, some men gave really great perspective to why they feel this way, and a lot of it was triggered by their own insecurities. And I do think that is one aspect of it. However, I feel it's more common than not that there are men who knowingly have never really liked this woman, never really liked, appreciated, care for their wife, but their wife did so much auditioning and jumping through hoops to get with them. The cooking, the cleaning, the having sex with them, the putting up with their foolishness, potentially putting up with their cheating, that they didn't have a better option for a wife because who else is going to put up with all that bullshit? And so these women auditioned for these men, not realizing that pick me, patriarchal, male centered mindset was going to get them in a lurch. And now they're in these marriages where their husbands hate them. They strongly dislike them or they hate them. And I'm not talking about from the perspective of he has insecurities. He just genuinely never liked her and he's resentful that he needs her and her utility. He also feels entitled to her utility, her body, her time, her labor, her money. And you get this dynamic where you have a lot of very miserable marriages because people don't like one another. And I feel it is so prevalent, especially in today's dating environment and very polarizing. And politics plays into this, and the red pill content plays into this. There's so many factors that play into this. You have even social movements such as the 4B movement where women are completely opting out because their dating options have just become so terrible and they don't want to end up in a marriage or long-term relationship where their partner hates them. And these TikToks just really showcase that to such a great extent. There are a lot of men out here who hate their wives, who've never liked them, who've never respected them. So, ladies, when you're out here dating, be very conscious and be very cautious. And don't be afraid to block, delete, and get rid of someone in your life if they are moving in a way that is disrespectful, that's not honoring you, or anything else that is not conducive to a healthy relationship. Let me know your thoughts below if you've ever been in a dynamic like this. It could be a marriage, it could have been a long-term relationship where you just felt that your partner hated you, strongly disliked you, didn't respect you, didn't listen to anything you had to say. I'm interested in seeing how common this is. I know I've seen it a lot with coaching clients, but I'm interested to see, what those on YouTube have to say. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. Most men don't like their wives. Watch this video again and just go through and assess any situations you may have gone through in your own personal dating life or those situations that you know of personally that have happened to your friends or family, etc. I'd love to hear your feedback below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, check the links out below in the description box. Also, check out my podcast, The Successful Invisible, next season publishing soon on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next time, this is your relationship coach, Janelle, signing off.